Oh dear. I was doing a um how do I delete that? Delete forever. Delete. So if you've made it back, fantastic. I was having some issues with the stream, which happens occasionally. OBS doesn't always play well with um, YouTube. So I'll just start talking about what I was talking about before. Oh dear. I have some coffee. So while my coffee cup says, of course I'm right, I'm Dave, OBS would love to prove me wrong. What are we talking about today? So we're at the finish of this painting. We're nearly at the finish of this painting. I'm just going to do some touch-ups and examine it from the top down. And I had been talking about this little light. So that's the only light source apart from light that's coming in into the studio through the windows. So this is the lighting as I would have seen it doing the painting, except for at night. It's been a mission. I'm going to show you her here. We'll zoom in. But first I just want to show you from top to bottom of the painting. There's the reveal so far. Since I last started the painting, or last probably showed you the painting, this section here has all been cooled down with blues and violets. But the original source material, she's probably wearing a muslin type dress. And there is reflection from his red jacket onto her dress. And I'd opted to, I got carried away with that, and it swung right around into the her shoulder, which of course is in shadow. So this part of her's in shadow. She does have light coming from behind and light coming down onto her. He's got some light hitting him up there, but he's, and from behind, which is why we've got light on his shoulder, but this should be more in shadow. So so this really, when I think about it, I should have done her dress in blues, and then I like to leave a bit of paper coming through, and in her here, we'll look at those later. The pearls is soaking through. And I had to redo her here. I'll bring up a photo. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We'll move the camera closer now. We'll just do some manual tweaking. There we go. So her here, let me show you what the disaster her here had been. So this is how I had done it. You see, it's really flat on top, and sort of a, my wife kindly said it was a bird's nest. But what happens is when you're doing here, if you lose concentration and stop looking at how the hair is moving, how it's lying on your subject's head, part of your brain can take over it and just get carried away. And that's what happened for me. my brain took over and said, oh, there's probably some curls up there. And so let's have a look at what it is now. So you see that with all the curls there on top. And now it's toned right back, and we've got our darks in place. And it's starting to sweep around and it's curling around, but it's a lot flatter, and we've got some height in there as well. If I just zoom in, let's go up. There we go. So for her here, I go that way, but this is pan pastel, and it's pan pastel because his here is also in pan pastel. And I like this sort of ocean wave feel that came out with the blues and greens. In the source photo, it's all very dark and unclear as what's happening. But those sort of grey blues worked for me. And then as the light hits here, it comes into a mahogany, and then around the pearls into a violet colour. So the hair sort of falls like a waterfall in colour down here. And of course we've got a red and blue violets with stray strands coming down her cheek and under the Thank you, Will. Lovely to have you here. Had some issues with YouTube and OBS today. I don't know what was going wrong. But that's just life of streaming. So the tried to remove any lines, blurred lines around here. And then her hair sort of sweeps in around behind her earring, and we've got the flyaways at the back. So I'm quite happy with the top of her hair. I'm not going to touch his hair. Let's just go up and have a look at his hair. So he's also got, so you'll see that we've got detail, just a little bit of detail at the front and top, and then it becomes this sort of curly mass on both their heads. And why is that saying I've got no data? Refresh page. Is it going to give me anything? No. YouTube's just being a bit weird today. What's going on with it? Typical. Anyway, in her hair as well as his, we've got the colour story of the magenta coming in from the window frame as well. And this was a sort of a turquoisey blue of the frame of the wall. So I just pull across a bit. This is sort of bluey grey here, which has also come into her hair and around into his hair as well. So I'm fairly happy with the hair. So we'll just go back to our shot here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do my final touch-ups, which involves now that I'm at here, I'm going to look, sort of work my way down the painting. When you zoom right out and you get the context, your brain will fill in all the details, and you won't see the errors because your brain's compensated for them and it's looking at a bigger thing. But when you do this sort of close-up look, you can decide for yourself, is that good enough? And what will happen is when people look at your art, they will come up right up close and look at it and they'll go, oh, that's weird. And there is my favorite color, which is sort of my trademark. Let's get it in the light. Let's hold it up to this camera. Here we go. You see that? So I call that turquoise, but it's a mixture between a turquoise and an aqua, I think. It's very green blue with yellow in it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's great in shadows. So we might put some music on because I think I'm going to be a little quiet as I think this through. If I move that up a little bit, do I move it up or down? Sorry, I just try and get the camera shot. Straighten that up. Thank you. We go physically move it up. There we go. That's better. So, and I'll bring up my reference photo so I can be looking at that too. I don't think there's, I've said in my intro in the description for this video that the painting is 94% complete. And I believe that. I think at my current skill level, I can get a painting to somewhere between 95 and 96, 97 on a really good day, percent complete. And the reason I say it doesn't really go beyond that is that's my skill level. So like if someone goes out on a golf course and they shoot a really good round and they're under par and all that sort of jazz, they've had a great day. But that one great day doesn't mean they're like that all the time. And if I was to come back to this painting in another year, just another year, there's things that I'd be able to do that will finish it and make it better. And Leonardo da Vinci knew that, and that's why it took so long to do his paintings, that as the years went by, he would see things and adjust them because he could see it differently. And the Mona Lisa, famously, he'd not even finished it when he died, and he'd been working on it for 16 years. Which is why it's a masterpiece. Well, if things continue the way they are, I won't be alive in 16 years' time, so I better hurry up and finish this. I do want to add some of this turquoise in. I think I can get away with just adding a little bit in the lines up here. Doesn't have to be much, but it is a signature colour. So I like to find a place for it if I can. I'm not going to touch his eyebrow. Now, his eyebrow is actually, if you look at it closely, it looks like a mess. But with art, we don't normally stand right up next to it. We move away, and we can be a couple of meters away when it's on the wall of our home, and that's when it should look unified. So I'm okay with that being a mess here, because it absolutely looks fine. when you're further away. Just cool that down a wee bit. I want to cool it down. I want to darken it. Where's my brush? Into the really delicate stuff now. Right, stuff. Touches. Okay. I'm okay with his nose. His nose, they worked. See that? I have to adjust the autofocus. Dot. So that's just the paper. And to do the pearls, I used a and went around each pearl and then came in with a blue. And when you've got a blue and an orange together, they're supposed to cancel each other out and get grey, which was kind of what I was after. But it ended up leaving this sort of quite nice apricot-y edge around each pearl. And I thought, oh, I quite like that. So that's what happened to the pearls. And I didn't do them on live because I'd never done pearls before and I didn't know if they were going to work or not. We've got them in shadow, barely defined on top. So, which actually makes them stand out more, weirdly enough. So there's a little chunk on his mouth too. I don't mind imperfections on a painting, but sometimes what happens is I'm painting, I'll do a clumsy mistake and the pencil will come out of my hand and sometimes it'll bump into the pastel, and if I was really getting carried away, it can be a bit rough on it. So I just want to, I could probably use a brush and fix that bit of his face. I think it needs to be darker, and for some reason some of the hero colors I've used, so I thought I'd share my hero colors. So just see if I'm showing this on the camera. Here's my 3 hero reds. We've got a bright primary red, which is actually a cold red, the magenta, which is a cold color, and this very warm end over the top with the pink, and you'll get it just, it works for some reason, and so you lose this sort of bright primary colour, and you get a most luscious pinks, which is all around here in her face. But what I want to do is just maybe fix up his face. It is quite dark around here. Redden this wee spot up. I only need to dot the pastel pencil. So these are hard pastels, pastel pencils. I had a instructor once that when I first left school, I went on this apprenticeship course for an electrician. And one of the instructors at the course was explaining how to twist wires together. And he said, he always said, just start gently, gently, gently. And us boys just joked about it. Gently, gently, gently. But here we are, Mr. What was his name? Nevis, maybe? I'm not sure. It's a long time ago. But here I am thinking of him while I'm doing my art, going, yep, gently, 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 that's what you want, because otherwise you'll get a line appearing. And there we go. It's darkened, so I'm happy with that now. I could probably make this just a little bit dark around his nose, but I'm a bit worried about that because I've fiddled around with his nose. This colour here, by the way, is Indigo 36D by Derwent. That's a hero colour, great for shadows, and it's used in their hair and eyebrows. And if you're going to pick up a pastel, a Derwent, Indigo is it's a good choice. You find you get a lot of mileage out of it. I'm just dabbing. As Bob Ross says, in your little world, you can do whatever you want. You can go in hard if you want. But I have found less is more. Let me show you my blues. What have been my hero blues? This has been my hero blue. This, I think it might be an ultramarine. I'm not too sure. It's a Carbothello. And I've recently bought a new one of it because I'm clearly down to the stub. Its number, if you want numbers, is 405. So you can look that up and go, whoa, what's that? Blue. And then you can give me a comment, tell me exactly what it is. But it's great. It's a great blue, as I've clearly used that one a lot. My other blues, Kohinoor's Gioconda, number 10 and number 48. There's a light one and a darker one, and they are all used in shadows. These are absolute winners for pastel pencils. I use it. This yellow, the softest yellow, 105 from Carbothello. That gets used a lot in blending, and I've got a grey white. It's not a. Maybe it is the white. Yeah, it must be the white. It's number 100. So I think that is the white. For some reason, I didn't think it was. But it's a very grey white, and that's used quite a lot in laying down a foundation for other pastels. So we fixed that. We did some scary stuff with his eye, and I nearly thought I was blowing it. I got my turquoise up in his head. We can move down the painting a bit more. There is an area. You might just see a little curve. And I'm not sure what happened there. That might have been a pencil falling out of my hand, twitching, or I had been leaning on the pastels. I'm normally not afraid to lean my hand on the pastels because it'll just blend it in. You just get a dirty hand, that's all. But I don't know what caused that, so we'll just try and fix that because I don't like artificial. You should do it. Get one of our darker blues. Just I've thought quite hard about her face as to whether normally with pastel, like where her the highlights are on her cheekbone, they're blended not by using a stump, so classic stump or brush, which I like to use, or finger, just with pastel pencil itself, as pencil on pencils cause the blending. And I could do that with your whole face, but if you look at his face, you'll see he's just striped, and that is the art effect. So if that's my art effect on him, then the same thing needs to be happening on her with the construction of building up her skin. And when you step back a couple of meters, it all blends in anyway. It's only when you come up close and look at it that it's potentially a problem. Will, oh, you're going down to the library. Oh, okay, thank you, Will. Lovely to see you. Will sent me some nice pictures of what he's been working on, which is fantastic. And if you've got any art that you're doing while you watch along, please send me a link. Have a look at it. I thought that was fantastic. We're going to fix a little bit on her neck. This little bit here is just a bit too dark, and I've struggled for some reason with a shadow around here. It's just a bit too, something's weird going on there, so I just need to tone down this dark bit here. And I think we're going to use this blending tool just to knock it back. Okay. Light. Doing here. Darker up here. The longer you work on a painting, the more you'll see it. Do you ever go back and read books for a second time, or watch a movie for a second time, third time, fourth time? When you do that sort of thing, you'll see stuff that you missed on your first viewings, for readings. And I've found with art, if I'm trying to do a portrait, especially, I'm trying to capture something about them that should look right. Like with your hair, when I went back and I re-looked at your hair and went, yeah, the hair's all wrong. I've got to fix that hair. Did I show you that before? Could be on the earlier version of this. I showed the hair. We do it again. So this is how I'd done her hair. It's just a mess, just just awful. So this is how it's looking now, and hopefully, let's bring this down a bit. Just adjust the camera. Hopefully your hair is looking much better than the mess it was. It's really awful. We have time. We've got a little bit of time left on the stream. Here's my picture. Yep. Geez, with a bit of a, it's a bit of a sharpen. I'm always trying not to step into the boundary of, or over the boundary into hyperrealism. I want it to be a painting, not a photocopy. But it's, once you start using pastel pencil, it's very tempting to get carried away. So if we look in, where's that? Okay, are we good? So the earrings have sort of bothered me a little bit as to, are they good enough? We'll just do a little bit more. I have made them a bit darker than they were in the reference photo. The problem with the reference photo was that the contrast was so strong. This is so dark in the reference photo. And his face was so dark as well. And this part of your face so dark. But that's not how our eyes see it. Our eyes actually can compensate and get the light correctly. So I have to look at the picture using eyes of understanding to go, hang on, what's really happening with the light? It's much better. Okay, there's a bit of action going on around this. This is actually a fern plant. Well, that's what I think it is in the background. So they've got some sort of potted plant in the background. And I haven't really done a lot with that because that's not the story. We want to try and concentrate on what is the story here. But it does create a little bit of interest. We'll just do a couple little bit of touch-ups there. They were not the story. Scroll down to the bottom of the painting. Okay, so I'm now looking at her belt and her sleeve. And these have been done in pan pastel. And when I frame it, it's going to actually cut off sort of 5mm all the way around. We'll probably lose a bit of his jacket, but I think I just need to get this a little darker, and there's some shadow coming up from her dress. And rather than go grab my my pair of pastels, we'll just use some pastel pencil. Get those violets that need to happen. Okay. Just tone this down. Don't want to eliminate it, just want to grumble my shadow blues. Probably go. Pretty sure this is going to get chopped out by the frame. Maybe a bit of magenta to make it darker. Here we go. What we need to do with your other arm is we've got to do exactly the same. Just use a bit of blue to cool it down. Right, a little bit of magenta. Been wondering where to put my signature. I tend to do a monogram, just my initials. I suffer from dysgraphia, although some would just call it being lazy, but my handwriting has never been good, but dysgraphia is when you start confusing capitals with lowercase. You got uppercase and lowercase all over the place, and print versus what do you call it? Cursive writing. So it just looks a mess. You know what? I think this is done. Let's just zoom out so you see the whole picture. I got to move the camera. Hang on. Let's do a camera shot. I think that's about as far as I can get it. And if I turn my light off, there you go. That is pretty close to how I see the painting. With the colours, it's pretty, could be a little more saturated. I've got more colour in it than what you see, but I'm pretty happy with what's gone on here. So we need to get a signature on. Let's put a light on. It's going to go blow out for a sec. Where should I put it and what colour should I do it in? I could do it in a blue somewhere around here. It could work. Red's clearly been a colour. I could do a monogram on his. No, I don't think I can. I'm not that good. I've got a feeling it's this is kind of the space. Otherwise, it ends up down at the bottom. I could do it on his. Get a somewhere in here, but I think that'll be too distracting. Could be in here with maybe a classic turquoise. I think that'll look naff. What about over here? What we can do is just put one in, and then if it looks awful, we'll brush it out, okay? Okay. How awful is that? Let's zoom in for you so you can't see it from there. See it? Like trying to find someone's tattoo. I think my camera's that good at zooming in that far. There's a Regency Romance. So for those who have followed the journey, thank you so much. Special shout out to William and Donna for their great comments along the way. Gigi, who did a lovely comment on my post. And Neela, who's supplied the coffee along the journey. Always need the coffee to keep the journey going. And next time I'm on the stream, we'll be looking at a new photo. Let's see if I can find what the photo is. Here we go. It's going to be this one. This is the reference image I'm working from. And another underwater couple to go with the series behind me. This will be number 4 in the series. So I'm looking forward to having a crack at that. I've done a little bit on it. I started in May. And I've got to hurry up and get it done because I've got the arts trail in end of October. So this, I'm looking, we'll get it photographed so it's available for some prints, and then get it framed, and I'll drop a photo of it once it's framed into the community post section of the channel. So thank you so much for having the patience to watch this. I hope you feel inspired to do some pastel work. Pastels are a fantastic medium. They can be challenging, but what a joy when it comes together. You get a whole conversation of colour happening on your painting. It's just lovely. All right. Until next time, have a good week.